Welcome to Harper Fox Trailblazer Talks. Today we are discussing Black and ethnic minority representation within business and are joined by the phenomenal Raphael Sofoluke, founder of UK Black Business Show, UK Black Business Week and author of Twice as Hard. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
No, thank you so much for coming. We are delighted to have you.
Amazing.
So, can you, I guess, start us off by talking us through your journey and how you came to founder Black Business Show?
Yeah, sure. So I launched the UK Black Business Show in 2017, and I was working for a corporation, then kind of doing digital advertising.
Okay.
And at the same time, they had their own event called the UK Investor Show. So realizing kind of a lot of the events that I was going to, they lacked diversity, whether it was the speaker panels, the audience attending, the business exhibiting. I really just wanted to create something for black professionals and entrepreneurs to connect. A lot of the feedback from my peers were that they didn't feel like they felt welcome at some of the events that they went to. And some of the companies that had, products tailored specifically for the African and Caribbean community, they couldn't find a place to sell it. So yeah, pretty much kind of created it in 2017.
That's amazing.
Within 6 months of thinking about the idea, I remember just emailing my missus and saying, I've got an idea, I want to create this show. And she said, oh, great idea.
It is a brilliant idea.
And then I was thinking, I wanted to pull out. So I was just like, okay, I'm going to ask my brother. If my brother says no, then it's not a good idea. I phoned my brother. He was like, it's a great idea. You've got it. So just kind of using my experience from working in that exhibition, the UK Investor Show, because I used to sell on it as well. So I knew how to sell stands, sponsorship.
Okay.
Created it, and since then it's really kind of just doubled in size each year.
Yeah, which is unbelievable. And I've kind of seen some footage from the show, and it is unbelievable. Like it's something to be super, super proud of, which I'm sure you already are. But I've got to kind of delve into that a little bit more, because that's major, isn't it? So kind of going from a business where you're selling space effectively and being involved in digital events to actually founding something and setting something up. How did you make that transition?
It was tough. So I was working for the last few years. I was juggling both of them.
Yeah.
And it became, it always comes to a point with an entrepreneur when they're juggling their work where they have to ultimately kind of choose one. But it was long nights, really just kind of utilizing all the skills that I learned from in my career. So sales was very important for me. One thing I didn't know was the operational kind of logistics of an event. So I knew how to do the marketing, the branding, but running a full exhibition, I didn't have a clue. Luckily, I had someone reach out to me who was really kind of, they were experienced in operations in the event industry. And I always say it could have been like, have you seen Firefest?
Oh, yes. Oh, my gosh,
with
yeah.
Dara, where
Yeah.
They branded it looked amazing, but then they turned up and everyone was like
beds on the beach.
Yeah. So thankfully I had someone who could actually make sure that everything that I was portraying made it look amazing. So yeah, it's just really kind of grown and picked up, and then we've been featured on a number of well-known platforms since then. But yeah, it was just tough utilizing all my networks that I was building. And just, a lot of graft and a lot of hard work throughout the years.
Amazing. And I think that probably kind of homes on nicely to talk us through some of your biggest achievements, or perhaps some of the achievements that meant the most to you.
Yeah. I think, there's a number of kind of personal accolades, which are featuring in Forbes, BBC News, and ITV.
Amazing.
As well as I got invited to 10 Downing Street, Black History Month, in 2019, which was that was quite special for me, and that was while I was still working as well.
And what was that? I've got to just interlude there. What was that like?
It was just it was quite crazy. I just got it was almost like a personal email, and I was like, is this fake?
Yeah, you would.
Because you're like, what's going on? So I just went to search the email, And it was legit, and I was invited like one of like 20 black entrepreneurs during Black History Month. So that's been special for me. But if you kind of strip back like the personal accolades, for me it's always been just the growth of the show. So seeing it go from 25 stands and 500 attendees in 2017 to this year already, I think we've got 153 signed up for this year's show, looking at 200 and looking at 4,000 just for the Saturday show, hopefully, fingers crossed. And then launching the UK Black Business Week with, you know, sponsors like HSBC, JP Morgan, Amex, EY. So yeah, everything I've been trying to do is to inspire and connect black business owners and professionals, and also allies as well, making them understand how to support black professionals. So I think I'm probably proud of that most, just seeing the growth of the show and seeing the impact it's having.
Yeah, and that's just it, isn't it? It's about impactful change, you know, and it's exactly that. So talk us through what Black Business Week is, UK Black Business Week.
Yeah, so we launched, because of the success of the UK Black Business Show, we've launched the first ever UK Black Business Week, which will take place this year from the 25th to the 30th of October.
Okay.
And it will be the first dedicated week for black entrepreneurs, professionals and allies of the black community. So essentially our show, the UK Black Business Show, will now be one event as part of the UK Black Business Week. Okay. So literally from Monday to Saturday, there'll be an event. We cover different streams: leadership, technology, finance. We've got our allyship program. We've got a culture, media and sports event, finance, and then we'll end the week with our flagship show, the UK Black Business Show. So yeah, that's how we've really just kind of expanded on what we was doing. And there's a lot of things that we're helping our companies with. So we're helping them with like recruitment, finding black talent.
Yeah, we can help with that as well.
Fantastic. we're definitely going to speak retention.
Yeah.
Just making sure they're authentically, you know, positioning themselves as a diverse and inclusive company without being, you know, tokenistic. Yeah. So yeah, essentially that's what it is. And our Allies program, which we're really excited for, on the Thursday, we want to get up to, you know, 300 people in the room who are not black, and help them kind of understand their black colleagues and professionals. So yeah, there's a lot going on during the week, which is just really, really excited about.
Amazing, incredible. And of course we connected through your book, your incredible book, Twice as Hard. So talk to us a little bit about that and kind of how that came to fruition as well.
Brilliant. Well, thank you for being in the book, first of all.
I was like delighted.
I was excited, so I messaged Scarlett on LinkedIn. I was like,
I was like, definitely. Like, I don't know if I can add value, but I will try, or how I can.
So yeah, no, I've always wanted to do a book.
Yes.
And for me, when I look at anything I do, it has to align with kind of my goals, my passion. So with the UK Black Business Show, is to inspire and connect black business owners and professionals. And we also invite allies. So I've had some people message me or message on the Facebook, I'm white, can I come? I'm like, of course you can come. Like, this is one of the reasons we've created it. So the book was almost a natural extension of what I've been doing anyway. So speaking with my agent, just going through a few different ideas. The first idea wasn't up to scratch. So sat down with the missus, was kind of going back and forth. And she's kind of a leader in like the D&I space as well.
Yeah.
So she's doing really well there. And I'm in the entrepreneurial space. Just thought, you know what, why don't we just do it together? Because, you know, the journey for a woman and a man at work is completely different, whether you're black or white, actually. So we thought getting those different views would be quite incredible. And then, we sent that over, the idea, and then my agent kind of pitched it, and we had like 4 or 5 publishers interested who we got to kind of choose out of, which was really exciting.
Yeah, amazing.
And then we just got cracking. It was
some pressure.
Yeah. It was a really long experience, but really rewarding as well. Just speaking to everyone, hearing their stories, seeing how they made it, etc. And I learned so much from writing the book as well.
Yeah, and you have interviews. I think you and I were touching on it earlier, with a couple of people that you've interviewed as well. Are you able to share?
Yeah, Scarlett Allen Horton, Matthew Knowles, so the father of Beyonce and Solange, Trevor Nelson. We had Munya Chihuahua, the comedian.
Yes, hilarious.
He's doing great things right now.
He really is.
Who else? There's so many people. We had Ray J from,
Yeah, I saw that.
from the US, which was such an interesting interview. That he really is a funny guy. And then just so many leaders in the entrepreneurial space in the UK. So Bianca Miller from The Apprentice.
Yeah.
Who else? There's over 40. I don't want to miss out anyone.
No,
They're
that's
all
fine.
just pretty amazing.
I'll kind of intervene, not to. No, it's amazing. It's just really nice to kind of get an overview. And I think to be able to, for you to have created something whereby you can share the voices of so many people as well, I just thought was so, so powerful. So yeah, kudos to you.
Thank you. I
So you've had some phenomenal achievements. Talk us through maybe some of the sacrifices that you've had to make along the way.
Yes, I think I mentioned a few earlier on. It's just, that juggling.
Yeah.
Juggling between working when you're at a full-time job and your passion, your dream. So sometimes I would do a 9 to 5. I would come back and probably do a 7 till like 2 a.m. And then I'll wake up for work at 6 a.m. because you've got to travel. Then everyone's obviously traveling. So it was literally just non-stop. And then at my lunch breaks, I'll be having meetings with sponsors in the hotel outside of my workplace.
That's brilliant.
So it was just literally sacrifices, probably time. I was literally just giving up my time. And at that stage, money as well. So I didn't have everything I was doing because it was bootstrapping. So essentially, I was paying for the event from the exhibitors, from the ticket attendees. So I was investing my own money to start it up. So really, you're kind of, I'm someone who doesn't like gambling, just because I hate losing money. So when I was young, I was someone who would, exactly. But
it's a big risk.
Actually, you're gambling on yourself, which I don't mind doing if I'm going to gamble.
As long as you believe in what you're doing.
Yeah.
And what do they say? There's no risk without reward.
That's it.
You know. So yeah. So how as a society, and I think this is probably the big question, do we increase ethnic minority representation and black representation within business? Yeah,
sure. So I think, first of all, organisations like your company are key for doing things like this. And for me, it's first of all, it's the senior leaders within the organisations. If they don't have buy-in, there's no way it can trickle down. If the person at the top doesn't believe in diversity and inclusion, there's no way the company will be. So having senior leader buy-in for me is extremely important. The recruitment process, which you know so much about, first of all, are you thinking out the box?
Yes.
Are you just using the same companies to the same recruitment companies to get talent, or are you going out to different, to other diverse recruitment employers? Are you partnering with shows like the UK Black Business Show, things like Women in Tech, to find talent? And also, just the hiring process as well, making sure you have that equitable hiring process. So if you're, maybe a young black woman and you're going through an interview stage at 4 different stages, and at each stage you're being interviewed by a white middle-aged man, is that process fair? Yeah, probably not. And then the blind CV, which you spoke about as well on our interview, is fantastic.
Yeah, it's just trying to eliminate as much unconscious and conscious bias as possible.
Yeah, so those things I think are really important. What else? I think, and then we spoke about just also authentically positioning yourself as diverse and inclusive, and making sure that your organisation just represents everyone, because sometimes you spend so much time just recruiting the talent and then they're just going straight out the door because they don't feel welcomed in the environment. So I think working on those are key things in making a difference. Yeah, no, that's brilliant. Thank you. And I think on that note, I've got to ask you about entrepreneurism as well. So whether you're black, whether you're an ethnic minority or not, what are maybe kind of some of your top tips for someone that's kind of, thought of a great idea or has got a belief or a vision in something? My top tips?
I'm putting you on the spot.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Research, execution, and longevity.
Nice.
Are three things which I think are just fantastic in business. So when you're starting off a business, it's important to do your research, of course. Who are your competitors? What markets should you be going into? What channels should you be advertising? Is it unique? Has someone done it before?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So that research is key. And then the execution. So many people have so many good ideas but can't execute it. People done similar things to the UK Black Business Show, but they didn't do it on the level of myself, and it wasn't at that level of professionalism. I went to literally go and get the best venue that I could. It was the same venue that I saw them do the UK Investors Show.
Yes.
So the Queen Elizabeth II Centre, so opposite House of Parliament in Westminster in London. So it's that execution piece, making sure it just looks amazing. And then the longevity as well. That's where you get kind of respect in the business world. So when I started off, we didn't have like any big sponsors. But the last kind of 3 or 4 years, we've pretty much worked with all of the big corporations and companies. So I think the longevity also ties into being patient as well. So just being patient and just, seizing your chance.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. That is actually brilliant advice. And I've got to kind of home in a little bit. So you said there were some other shows or there were some other kind of events that had a similar idea but just not on the scale. How did you not let that deter you? Because there's other people that would kind of think, oh, it's a bit similar, oh no, I'll leave it, I've got a day job, I'm juggling a million things already, but you didn't do that. And why didn't you?
Yeah, so I think, what I was doing, there was things like it, but there still wasn't anything. And I think that's with every business. You have to make it. You have to make it your own. I think there's a really kind of cool quote. Someone said that, "Be yourself. Everyone else is taken." And I feel like you can apply that to business as well.
Yeah.
So any business that we create, we're inspired by someone.
Yeah.
But we can put our own spin onto it and make it unique and special. And that's what I done with the UK Black Business Show. Yeah, I went to study all the biggest exhibitions. I went out, I done my research, but I put my own spin on it and I made it unique. And one thing I've made as well, I've kind of made sure that I don't do is actually, I don't focus my time on competitors as well.
Yes.
Because it distracts you. I hate doing that. So be aware of them, but don't focus your plans and don't build your plans based on them.
Also, it can influence you.
100%,
and sometimes not in a positive way. It can influence you and kind of make you in a certain box, and actually would you have thought in that way if not? So
make rash decisions as well.
I agree. I think it's about getting best practice. So whether that is from a competitor or actually someone or a business in a totally different industry, in a totally different location, then that's what's to utilise. So conversations around race, particularly within business, can be really difficult to navigate. So what would your advice be to companies that are wanting to have those conversations in a positive way? Sure.
I think first of all, people at work need to just get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Race it's difficult to talk about, but it's a conversation that needs to be had, and we're only going to change things if we start talking about it. So I think first of all, making these forums where people can actually talk about it. I think a lot of the time in the UK, they're like, don't talk about race, or you can only talk about it in like confined spaces, etc. I think it's important for people to speak about it. Also, people need to be open to correction, open to change as well, educate themselves, and also just realize maybe some of their privileges as well. So I think, companies can also draft in allies as well. So senior leaders who can speak about race. What else is there? That's a lot. Yeah. That's a lot. So it's kind of about those companies maybe embracing some uncomfortability. It sounds like there's an education piece in there, whether that's through kind of internal colleagues or even allies, external or internal. And sort of having those discussions and having those conversations. So I totally agree with you. I think also allowing, colleagues to share negative and positive stories regarding their race at work.
That's really
I think
interesting.
that would be a great way to kind of allow people to openly talk about, race at the workplace.
Yeah, that's interesting. And that feels, even for you to say that, I'm like, oh, will that offend people? And I'm used to having conversations around race, and I'm like, will that offend people? Will that make people feel uncomfortable? Or obviously it's an amazing education piece as well, in terms of, but really what we're talking about is sharing experiences. That's ultimately what you're talking about. And I think only in that way does everybody start to learn, or you can try and put yourself in someone's shoes to a degree. Don't get me wrong, it's but to some kind of degree. So as well as creating a safe space for people to share their experiences, what else can people do to support their Black colleagues or peers?
Yeah, I think one thing is, challenging stereotypes in the workplace. So essentially going from a bystander to an upstander. So, calling out microaggressions at work. If you notice something going on at work, be that person who stands up and stands up for that person as an ally. So I think that is, for me, very key. A lot of the time, people are afraid to stand up for themselves because they're scared of losing their job. So actually, if you can help in terms of standing up for others, that's a great way for you to support your Black peers. Yeah,
absolutely agreed with you. Okay, so if you could change one thing in the world of business, what would that be?
Could I say 2?
You can say 10.
Cool, brilliant. So role models.
Yes.
So just making the role models more diverse, representation. That was something that was key for us with the UK Black Business Show. We wanted to create a show with Black role models because, representation creates role models. So having lots of diverse role models in all the different industries, so anyone from underrepresented groups can feel like they can make it. And also just taking away the glitz and the glamour of business a bit as well. So I want to hear more real stories about the grafting and the hard work, rather than just the success of when they make it. Do you know what I mean? So you've probably had your you've probably got your stories. I've mentioned a few of the late nights, etc.
Yeah, which I can relate to, by the way, completely.
So it's just I want to hear more of those stories in talks when I go to seminars, etc., and in books. So that's what I would change.
Yeah, I like that. And do you know what? That's so much more relatable.
Yeah.
Because sometimes when I imagine, say, you started the Black Business Show in 2017, didn't you? So say 2 years maybe before that, around 7 years ago, you probably wouldn't have thought you would be where you are now, maybe, and maybe couldn't relate completely to someone at your level or at a level of success. So actually, I agree with you. I totally agree. It's kind of that relatability and that inspiration as well.
Yeah.
And then going into some of your biggest lessons, talk to us about some of your lessons and maybe what advice you'd pass on to younger generations.
So my biggest lesson would probably be to focus on yourself and not to compare yourself to others, and to create success on your own terms. A lot of the time, people kind of compare their journey to someone else's journey, but they don't know when they started. So that would be my advice to others. And then patience, which I kind of mentioned earlier. Just kind of work hard, keep focused, and keep patient, and then the results will follow, hopefully.
Yeah, that's super powerful. I love that. Create success on your own terms. That in itself is so powerful. Amazing. And I've got to ask you, I mean, you've done so much, you've achieved so much, especially in the last few years. What's next? What's next for you, Raphael?
I don't know, it's kind of what I mentioned before. So as long as it aligns with what I'm about and what I do. So it's to inspire and connect Black business owners and professionals. Very passionate about diversity and inclusion just in general. So it could be literally anything along those lines.
You'll have to come and join Harper Fox Partners.
You're hired.
Yeah. I've been waiting to hear that, to be honest.
So anything that aligns with that, I'm just, I love it. Yeah.
Brilliant, brilliant. So inspirational, so humble as well. And yeah, it's been honestly amazing to have you on the show. Thank you so much. No, thank you. So we're going to dive in just for the last 60 seconds into our lightning round. Just answer it as honestly as possible. And are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. So what do you like to do for fun?
Football, Netflix and running.
I was going to say definitely Netflix. What does equality mean to you?
So being treated equal, fairness and having a seat at the table.
Yeah, I love that. I love the seat at the table. And what would you say to your younger self?
My younger self, I'll tell him to grow up, that just to stay calm, that everything will be okay.
Nice. And who inspires you?
Inspires me, I think just my peers, so anyone around me, all the entrepreneurs I speak to, all the professionals, anyone who's doing great things, they inspire me.
Okay, amazing. And what makes an exceptional leader?
I think an exceptional leader is someone who is courageous, is bold, who leads by example, who's not afraid to hire someone better than them.
Yes, yes, and yes.
And is open to learning.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, really good. Yeah. And what does sustainability mean to you?
I think it means to me doing things for the now that are not going to affect future generations.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, I think.
So kind of taking action?
Yeah, doing things now that will not affect future generations.
Okay.
So I think it's like the 3 Ps, people normally call it, like planet, people, and I forgot the last one.
I'm not sure either, but we can double check that. And final question, tell us a motivational quote or phrase that will inspire.
Yes, could I bring up my phone for this?
Yes.
Because I've got a really good quote.
Go for it.
From a lady called Glenda McNeil. We interviewed her for our book Twice as Hard.
Okay.
She's the first black woman, she's from the US, to be on the American Express board in their history.
Okay.
And she said this great quote. She said, "Don't be afraid to be who you are unapologetically. Stand up for what you believe intentionally. Love and be loved freely.
Ooh.
Forgive yourself frequently. And live life boldly. Be fearless. You'll be okay."
Wow, you need to send that to me.
Definitely.
That is absolutely amazing. And well done to Glenda as well.
Yeah.
Raphael, it has been amazing to have you.
Thank you.
Really appreciate all of your wisdom. And it's been an honour.
Thank you for having me, Scarlett.
Thank you.
Thank you.